Greetings, you're watching ABTV. I'm your host, Annabelle, and today I have a very special presentation for you.
ABTV, the world's number one.
In 2024, I watched 47 movies that I had never seen before, and now I've ranked them all. Quick disclaimer before I begin, I have not rewatched any of these movies, and there aren't really any guidelines for the ranking. This is purely based on recollection and emotional impact. Let's get into it. We'll start with Vengeance. A scummy writer, podcast bro, working for a social media company, goes down south to investigate the murder of his ex-girlfriend, who he doesn't remember, and make a true crime podcast documentary off of her death. Very manipulative, exploitative move. The characters are all very interesting, though, and though the main character starts off super annoying, I really liked his development. I remember being a little confused by the character motivations, but it didn't matter because the ending was so epic. The ending, my gosh. Usually a movie cannot be saved by an end, no matter how good, but it was just wrapped up so well. 7.5 out of 10. 310 to Yuma. A cruel guy who beats up old men and commits arson is detained, yippee, but now must be taken across the dangerous west to Yuma. Yikes. So a struggling farmer volunteers to escort the outlaw and shenanigans ensue. Only Western I've seen, and my gosh golly, it was great. There are questionable morals, good looking gunslingers, and I really want a sequel because I was invested in the son's character. 7 out of 10. Fight Club. You've probably heard of this one before. The narrator is depressed. He meets Tyler. They make a fight club where men beat each other up for fun to let off steam. There's a woman named Marla who adds some tension. Soap is gross, and things get crazy. This is in my top 10 favorite movies because it escalates so perfectly. Every scene provides something to progress the story, or delve into characters, or invite commentary on consumerism, disillusionment, or the normalization of inescapability of cynicism in an ignorant society. I honestly love everything about this film. 10 out of 10. The Courier. You might not have heard of this one, though. And there's a lot of movies named The Courier. This one is specifically from 2020. A British businessman becomes a spy to help end the Cuban Missile Crisis. He makes friends with a Russian and goes through hell trying not to die. I genuinely forgot what this movie was. War movies aren't my favorite, but this was pretty good. I don't know much of if it's accurate. Some of the scenes really made me think, dang, that's some good storytelling. It's better than average, but something I'm fine with having watched once. 5.5 out of 10. Annihilation. This movie is a lot, so I'm just going to read the official summary. Lena, a biologist and former soldier, joins a mission to uncover what happened to her husband inside Area X, a sinister and mysterious phenomenon that is expanding across the American coastline. Once inside, the expedition discovers a world of mutated landscapes and creatures, as dangerous as it is beautiful, that threatens both their lives and their sanity. Super cool concept, not executed well at all. It didn't hook me with the characters enough. They had the thinnest string bean of motivation. Details were just randomly revealed. I will say some of the moments were awesome and impressive world building, and the ending was absolutely insane, but it was a pretty meh sci-fi film. And the ending doesn't mean much if how you got there was stupid. Honestly, instead of trying to stretch unique traits across 5 unmemorable people, combine the characters to make it a solo or duo mission, or keep the 5 people, but don't make one of them the main person. 4.5 out of 5 for potential. Small Time Crooks. Another small movie. A husband and wife get rich from a cookie business. The wife lives lavishly but is insecure. The husband likes living modestly but is grumpy. They grow apart but find each other again through art and goofiness. Funny, love the message. Honestly, a movie everyone should watch, or at least something to watch in an economics or entrepreneurship class. 8 out of 10. The Party. This is one of my favorite movies. It's probably my third favorite movie. It's so good. Janet hosts a dinner party to celebrate her new political status, but as more guests show up and blabber together about politics, religion, and relationships, tension is strung, secrets revealed, and violence sparked. Easily my third favorite movie of all time. I already said that. Sorry, my script, going off script a bit. It's a period piece that speaks to the world, the characters are unique, the story is enticing, the camera work is inspiring, and the plot twists and semi-cliffhanger are just so fun to watch. 10 out of 10. Wild Mountain Time. The headstrong farmer Rosemary is determined to win over Anthony's golden retriever-esque heart, and Anthony, whose father's farm is about to be sold, is ready to finally confront his feelings. However, trouble arises through depression, grief, and America. Oh, yeah, and they're Irish. Romance isn't typically a genre I like, but this movie is surprisingly emotional and raw. Thinking about it now, I don't think I've stopped thinking about this movie since I watched it. There's one scene at the end that just really gets you in the feels. Love it so much. I'd watch it again just for the acting, not even the story. 8 out of 10. Snowpiercer. Like Annihilation, this movie has a lot, so I'm just going to read the official synopsis. Survivors of Earth's second ice age live out their days on a luxury train that plows through snow and ice. The train's poorest residents, who live in the squalid caboose, plan to improve their lot by taking over the engine room. This movie is insane. Just every single part of it is insanity. I loved every minute of it, though. It's like if you took John Wick and made him the haggard leader of a revolution. Definitely a plot-heavy film, not much character going on, with a lot of focus on power struggles and the lengths one is willing to sacrifice. Also, religious symbolism, colonization, morality, all those cool things. I don't think I need or necessarily want to watch it again, but I would if it were for a video, other than this one. 9 out of 10. Let's see. Oh, wait. Elemental. Oh, this one. This one was good. A young firewoman Ember and a water guy Wade meet each other as he's inspecting the city's plumbing and she's trying to save her father's family business that's about to go under. I would like to compare it to a less generational trauma Encanto and more young love Frozen 2. Elemental has some of the best world building Disney Pixar has ever done, but it's too short. The story made sense, but it all happened so quickly that it was difficult to really appreciate the nuances. I think they should have added 15 more minutes to explore more than just one character and to let the audience sit in the emotions, because the backstories and character melding were good, but it didn't really stand out in any way, except for the romance. That part was good. They didn't force it right away, they just kind of let it flow, like Wade, because he is water. Also, bare minimum non binary representation. Gotta love it. 6.7 out of 10. Underwater. This one. I can't. The Mariana Trench fights back, and now 6 survivors have to escape their now destroyed mining facility by crossing the seafloor, where, shocker, they face peril. Nothing special. It makes Annihilation look like a masterpiece. You can have as many jump scares as you want, but the real scare comes from someone you know well getting brutally ripped to shreds. And this movie did not meet those standards. 3.6 out of 10. Role models. After salesmen Danny and Wheeler trash a company truck, they must do community service and a mentoring program. The 2 overgrown adolescents find themselves paired with a teenager, experiencing the pangs of first love, and a foul-mouthed 5th grader who needs an attitude adjustment. Gonna be honest, I couldn't remember what this movie was when I looked at my list, and I'm not surprised because it's kind of just another late 2000s comedy. There wasn't anything super amazing about it. I did like Augie though. Augie was a good character. I wish they had focused on him and not the main character and his love interest. Also, spoiler here: the main character should not have ended up with his girlfriend at the end. I really did not like that. It didn't meld well. Um, Anyways, 6.8 out of 10. Transformers: Rise of the Beast. Optimus Prime and the Autobots team up with a down-on-his-luck young man, an aspiring historian, and a team of Transformers, known as the Maximals, to combat a sinister force from outer space that threatens Earth. Having not seen any Transformers content at all, and only knowing stuff from my friend Josh, shout out Nova Prime's Guide to the Multiverse, I'd still say this is a good movie. Solid action film. The story was chaotic and had a lot of threads, but it was wrapped up pretty neatly. It's all about being epic, and it did just that. 7 out of 10. Birds of Prey. And the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn, of course. I freaking love this movie so much. It's probably the best DC movie that has been made that I've watched. And the summary is just great. It's open season on Harley Quinn when her explosive breakup with the Joker puts a big fat target on her back. Unprotected and on the run, Quinn faces the wrath of narcissistic crime boss Black Mask and his right hand, Victor Saz. And every other thug in the city. Dun dun dun. But things soon even out for Harley when she becomes unexpected allies with 3 deadly women. It's a girl boss movie. That's and it's great, and I love it so much, and it deserves a sequel because I need to see Cassandra Cain as Batgirl because that is her job. And then if they made a sequel, they could tie in Batman. It's perfect, but they didn't make a sequel, and that sucks. I would watch a 4-hour movie of Harley Quinn, just of her day to day, her routine, because I love her so much, and Margot Robbie is great. This movie is a 10 out of 10. Dune Part 2. I couldn't summarize this movie if I wanted to. So here's the official one. Paul Atreides unites with Chani and the Fremen while seeking revenge against the conspirators who destroyed his family. Facing a choice between the love of his life and the fate of the universe, he must prevent a terrible future only he can foresee. This movie is immaculate in every single way, and I that's all I can say about it because it's so great, and I need to rewatch it. 10 out of 10. Wonka. I actually love the official synopsis for this one so much. Armed with nothing but a hat full of dreams, young chocolatier Willy Wonka manages to change the world, one delectable bite at a time. It's just so cute. And it fits the movie. It's just, it's perfect. So after I watched Dune 2, after I watched Dune 2, I was like, you know what? I'm feeling the Timothée Chalamet vibe. I'm willing to experience genre whiplash. So I did, and this movie did not disappoint. I wasn't expecting much from it, gonna be honest, because it's Willy Wonka, but I actually really like this one. The musicals, what? The songs are great, and the wardrobe is perfect, and the characters are amazing, and they all are unique, but they all have their little time in the spotlight. It's so good. Yeah, some of the songs are too short though. 9 out of 10. Dodgeball. Okay, let's see. Average Joe's run by Peter and gosh. Okay. Peter owns Average Joe's and White owns Globo Gym and they are competing and Globo will put Joe's out of business if Peter doesn't raise $50,000. So what's the solution for raising that much money? Well, obviously a dodgeball tournament, and that's where things get dicey. Or should I say wrenchy? That doesn't work. If you watch the movie, you'd get that. Okay. It's a fun movie. I don't think I'd purposely watch it again. It would have to be on in the background or something. 5, 5.5 out of 10. Guess I gave it a little more. Okay. Planet of the Apes, 2001. Don't watch this movie. Just don't. Astronaut Leo Davidson whips through space and time to a world where apes and gorillas rule humans. Captured, he is nurtured by Ari and hunted by General Thade as he leads a rebel group of humans and chimpanzees in search of his downed craft, the only hope of escape, and the planet's only hope of allowing peaceful humans and chimpanzees to coexist. This story is boring and it's useless and it makes no sense, and I hate it so much. Okay, also, White Savior. Spoilers ahead here. Major spoilers ahead. Okay. The fact that Leo, the main character, had like actual chemistry with Ari, the one good character who is complex and the only person who actually I was interested in seeing, and Leo kisses her at the end, like actually kisses her, and then turns right around and kisses Dana, the most useless character. She's literally just like the sexy lamp trope. That's all she is. It makes my blood boil because you know that the only reason for him to kiss Dana was because a human kissing a chimp is too weird. I smell racism. Anywho, 2 out of 10. Okay, Joker. This movie's great. I loved it so much. I say that about all these. Oh my gosh. Okay, Arthur Fleck is a failed comedian turned clown who lives his days attempting to connect in an outcast, isolated world. He slowly devolves into madness as he realizes maybe he'll never truly connect to anyone. This movie is terrifically dark and brutally cold. It takes the sad reality of abandonment and failure and gives it the most extreme yet disturbingly possible outcome. It kind of makes you feel like you're guilty, like you're watching this man suffer, but you're unable to help him, and like you have the guilt of like you let that happen. That's kind of what the movie feels like. It's also like documentary-ish esque. Yeah. I liked it a lot though. It feels like this Joker would be in Matt Reeves' Batman universe. Um, 9.1 out of 10. Okay, these three movies: 10 Things I Hate About You, First Bueller's Day Off, and 16 Candles. I watched them back to back to back. And so I was going to rate them separately, but in my brain, they're all melded together. And they're all in the same genre, so I'm just going to rate them all as one. They're classic 80s, 90s high school films. Um, and Ferris Bueller's Day Off is definitely my favorite one. But together, they all get a score of 8 out of 10 because I liked all of them. All of them had their plot issues a little bit and like character issues, but altogether, they're great. I liked them. The Matrix, oh, classic movie. I can't believe it was the first time I watched it last year. It's insane. Okay. The Matrix is the world beyond the world, ruled by AI. Neo is Jesus. Morpheus is God, and Trinity is a warrior angel, kind of like Athena. It's a modern hero's journey at its finest, which is pretty overdone now, but the sci fi aspect saves the film because sci fi is cool. I refuse to believe there are three more Matrix movies, and I will never watch them. This gets a 9 out of 10. Nope. Nope. Okay. A man and his sister discover something sinister in the skies above their California horse ranch, while the owner of a nearby theme park tries to profit from the mysterious otherworldly phenomenon. There's a lot to unpack in this film. I would have to rewatch it to like fully comprehend everything that's on the screen, but it explores topics of racism, greed, how nature is uncontrollable, inherent evil, and facing your fears. Oh, so precious, but it's not a precious movie. Okay, you might think, oh, that sounds so cool and quirky. No, it's actually terrifying, and it's violent and bloody and gory, and I loved it. And it's my favorite of Jordan Peele's scary movies. 10 out of 10. Inside. This is the official summary. A high-end art thief becomes trapped inside a luxury high-tech penthouse in New York Times Square after his heist doesn't go as planned. Locked inside with nothing but priceless works of art, he must use all his cunning and invention to survive. I watched this immediately after Nope because it was a sleepover and we were all delirious and wanted to watch something but didn't want to go to bed yet. I am the only one who stayed up through the whole thing, which kind of is telling of how slow moving this movie is and how a little too long it is. But other than those two things, I really liked it. It's kind of like a commentary on consumerist society, but also how art speaks to the soul, but can never sustain someone, but also how nature influences decisions, and oftentimes a helpless situation is brought on by oneself. There's a lot. It is survival, religion, and art. Yeah, it really is art. Also, it's where the meme comes from of Willem Dafoe looking up 8 out of 10. Oh, here I have 8.7. 8.7 out of 10. I'll agree with that. Okay. These Lord of the Rings movies, I have to rate them all together. They're a trilogy, it's one story. I have to rate it all together. I wish I had watched the extended version as my first time watching it, but we didn't have those. We could only get the original version. But still, it's amazing. Here's the summary. Frodo must defeat. Oh, well, here's my summary. Frodo must defeat all evil by tossing a magical corruptive ring into a volcano. But he literally could never in a million years do it alone. He needs his friends to help him. And that's what these movies are about. It's about friendship and bonding and overcoming adversity and learning how to, pick yourself up, but also accept the help of others. And it is magnificent in every way. I mean, every character brings something to the plot and they all have their moments. They all have their little shining star moments, and we must always remember: love Merry and Pippin, hate Count Dooku, stand Legolas. 10 out of 10. Migration. Oh, this was a good one. A family of ducks decides to leave their safety of a New England pond for an adventurous trip to Jamaica. However, their well-laid plans go quickly awry when they get lost and wind up in New York City. What? Kind of like Home Alone 2. It's a great movie. It's all about expanding your horizons and making memories with those closest to you, and ducks. It's also about ducks, which is adorable. And I will say the scene where all the ducks go quack lives rent free in my head. I love it so much. And it's like, gonna throw it out there, hot take. It might possibly be one of the greatest scenes in any animated movie ever. I don't know. Just saying. 8 out of 10. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. This. This is a fun watch. If you want a like semi-meta movie, but you also just want a fun like action movie, but also just a funny movie, watch this one. It's like Red Notice, but 1,000 times better. So here's my summary. Nick Cage is going downhill when he accepts a $1 million offer to attend a wealthy fan's birthday party. A CIA operative then recruits him for an unusual mission, and he soon finds himself channeling his most iconic characters to save himself and his loved ones. Yeah, Pedro Pascal and Nick Cage have amazing chemistry, and I want to see them in every single movie ever. I want to see them recreate every single movie ever. I think that would be great. 10 out of 10. Renfield. I also watched this movie the day after The Unbearable Weight because I was like, you know what, Nicolas Cage, why not keep it going? So Renfield is the tortured aide to his narcissistic boss Dracula, and he's ready to see if there's a life outside of fulfilling the Prince of Darkness's every whim. Basically, Renfield is the one who gets like the bodies and stuff, and it's gross, it's gruesome. And Renfield's like, you know what, independence, and this movie, it's okay. Just kidding. This movie is great and I love it. I almost cried watching it. That's how good it is. It's heartfelt and emotional. I was mad at one point. I was mad at multiple points actually, and it just really like pulls your heartstrings and really like keeps you there. If you're not a fan of blood though, don't watch this. I would say it's more gruesome than John Wick because there's just a lot more blood. And like sometimes the blood can seem like, oh yeah, that's definitely CGI, but still, there's a lot of blood. 9 out of 10 though. Oh, if you've ever been treated badly by a narcissist, watch this movie because that's what it's about. It's about a man overcoming his narcissistic boss, basically. And it's perfect. It will heal your soul. Okay. Oh, 10 out of 10, of course. Why did I say 9? So silly. Okay, Batman the Killing Joke. This was a huge downgrade from Renfield. Batman's greatest enemy, the Joker, attacks Commissioner Gordon and his family in a twisted quest to drive them crazy. Batman tries to find the Joker's hideout before it's too late. Subpar film. Usually the animated like media for DC is great. This was not. This was like they took a completely fleshed out story and then tried to fit it in a box and then put it in the oven and then tried to make a cake out of it that they did not eat. No, no. They did not eat. The characters are half baked and the plot is just scattered, and the Joker is really good because it's like him at his like peak villain, but Batman is way too forgiving at the end. I did not like the end at all. Mm-mm. Not good. Not good. Cinderella. Oh, I don't have the summary here. Whoops. Okay. Ella's dad dies, and now she's forced to be a maid by her stepmom and stepsisters. She wants to go to the prince's ball to hopefully see the man she met in the woods. Fairy godmother shows up and helps her out. Bibbidi bobbidi boo. The prince is in love. It's it's a really good movie, honestly. It adds something to the original story, and the characters aren't aren't just like, oh, annoying little Disney characters. Like Cinderella's actually like very kind and very caring, and you like appreciate her as a person. And the prince is kind of just there, but he also has his moments. He has his good moments too. Um, yeah. Uh, did the movie need to be made? No. And am I glad I watched it? Yes. So 7 out of 10. Fall Guy Extended Cut. After leaving the business 1 year earlier, battle-scarred stuntman Colt Seavers springs back into action when the star of a big studio movie suddenly disappears. As the mystery surrounding the missing actor deepens, Colt soon finds himself ensnared in a sinister plot that pushes him to the edge of a fall more dangerous than any stunt. I don't like that this summary doesn't mention the romance. But there is romance, and it's very cute, and it's very well done. It's love, it's action, it's phenomenal, and the acting is hilarious. Also, Metal Storm seems like a great movie, gonna be honest. 10 out of 10. Ride Along. This one, it's not it's not great. It's not the worst, but it could be a lot better. Okay, here's the summary. For 2 years, security guard Ben has tried to convince James, a veteran cop, that he is worthy of James's sister, Angela. When Ben is finally accepted into the police academy, James decides to test his mettle by inviting him along on a shift deliberately designed to scare the trainee. However, events take an unexpected turn when their wild night leads to Atlanta's most notorious criminal, and Ben's rapid-fire mouth proves as dangerous as the bullets whizzing by them. That sounds like a really good film. Um, this was not that. It follows that plot, kind of, mostly, but it isn't as cool as that sounds. And it's like they were trying to mesh like five different tropes into one, but it couldn't make it look like a hand. You get it? Because the tropes are the finger. Yeah, it works. Uh, no, it doesn't work. That's a stupid analogy. Okay, it's an okay watch. If you want like a cringy action film that's, kind of funny, go for it. 6 out of 10. Baby Driver. Now this is a good action movie. This is top tier action right here. This I put it on the same level as Fall Guy because it's so good. Okay, and I like the summary, so I'm just gonna read that. Baby, a music loving orphan, also happens to be wait, a musical Baby, a music-loving orphan, also happens to be the prodigiously talented go-to getaway driver for heist mastermind Doc. With the perfect soundtrack picked out for each and every job, Baby ensures Doc's violent bank-robbing cronies, including Buddy, Bats, and Darling, get in and out of Dodge before it's too late. He's not in it for the long haul, though, hoping to nail one last job before riding off into the sunset with beautiful diner waitress Deborah. Easier said than done. It's the perfect length for a movie. It's perfect pacing. The characters are wonderful. I like individually. They have like really good like layouts and stuff, designs, but then together the chemistry is just off the charts. I could watch this movie 50 times and never get bored. It's so good. 10 out of 10. Okay, To Keep the Light. This is a very different switch for Baby Driver. I think I watched Baby Driver in the afternoon, and then I watched To Keep the Light in the evening. So the movie is simple. During the 19th century, a female lighthouse keeper struggles with her work insanity while caring for her ill husband in Maine. That's all it is. It's just one sentence. And that's literally all it is. There is like a stranger who washes ashore that but that's all the movie is, and it's very slow, it's very methodical. It really like it seems like you would get bored and like tired of it pretty quickly, but it's like just the right amount of like cinematography to keep you hooked, and I really liked that. I do wish they had swapped the 3 minute sex scene for more of like displaying her madness. That was a little uncomfortable, but other than that, I highly recommend it. If you like historical dramas, or even if you don't like historical dramas, just give this movie a shot. Just know it's slow going, not a lot of action. 9 out of 10. The Adjustment Bureau. Again, crazy switch from To Keep the Light. This is right back into action here. Matt Damon loses the Senate election, meets Emily Blunt, instantly falls in love, but mysterious men keep him away from her. Keep keep her away from him. Turns out, the mysterious men are agents of fate itself, and now Matt Damon, not really Matt Damon, it's the actors, I just forgot the characters' names, must decide to follow his path without the dancer or defy God. Yeah, it's kind of like it's an action movie, and then it takes the idea of time and just like puts it right in your face. And like there's also religion, kind of. It's cool. It's cool. The characters don't quite mesh with the concept, but I did like it. Um, Similar to Elemental, it could have been longer, and I feel like that would have really helped them if it were longer because it would have given them more time to explore the time system and how all of it really works. But I liked it overall. 7 out of 10. You know what? I'm gonna up it. I'm gonna say 7.5 out of 10. It's up there with Vengeance. Actually, is it? No, I'm gonna keep it at 7 out of 10. It's not up there with Vengeance, but it's still good. Okay. The Land of the Lost. Oh, I forgot the. Oh, there is no the. Oh, wow, I put. Okay. I'm wrong. Land of the Lost. A space-time vortex sucks scientist Rick Marshall, his assistant Holly, and a survivalist Will into a world populated by dinosaurs and painfully slow creatures called Sleestacks. With few resources at their disposal, Rick, Holly, and Will must rely on their only ally, a primate named Chaka, to try to survive long enough to figure out a way back home. Um, it's weird. It's crazy. I can't remember half the plot because it's scrambled all in my brain, but it had really good character development. Gonna be honest, like I really liked the way they took the characters and stuff, and I remember being engaged in their stories. So that's why it gets all those points, 9 out of 10. And just the vibes of the movie. The vibes of the movie were really like chill, really fun. You'd expect it to be like super hectic, but it actually like felt very, very low key, even though they're being chased by a literal dinosaur. I don't know how they did that, but anyways. Hamilton. Ooh. Okay. This is straight from the Hamilton website. Hamilton is the epic saga that follows the rise of founding father Alexander Hamilton as he fights for honor, love, and a legacy that would shape the course of a nation. It's pretty good. The music is catchy, the actors are great, the wardrobe is immaculate. Um, I'm not big into history, gonna be honest, but I can appreciate the artistry. So I originally had it as like a 7 out of 10, but I'm gonna give it an 8.2 because it is better than Vengeance. It is better, but it's not quite like up there, you know? You know what I'm saying? Okay. Shutter Island. Oh, this is the official summary because I don't know how to explain this film. The implausible escape of a brilliant murderess brings U.S. Marshal Teddy Daniels and his new partner to Ashcliffe Hospital, a fortress like insane asylum located on a remote, windswept island. The woman appears to have vanished from a locked room, and there are hints of terrible deeds committed within the hospital walls. As the investigation deepens, Teddy realizes he will have to confront his own dark fears if he hopes to make it off the island alive. It's amazing. I have no complaints. Except it was a little confusing, but it's supposed to be a little confusing because there's supposed to be like two different endings kind of. So it's really up to the viewer to decide like okay, what do we really think here? What happened? It's you know what? I just had a thought. Okay, so this is Leonardo DiCaprio. If you've seen Inception, think of the ending with the spinning top. That's kind of what this movie does. It's a weird like in between sort of. It's really good though. I loved it. 9 out of 10. The Beekeeper. Oh, again, switch up, going from a great, great movie to a not so great movie. Here's the summary. One man's brutal campaign for vengeance takes on national stakes after it's revealed he's a former operative of a powerful and clandestine organization known as Beekeepers. Really cool concept. I really liked that they made like that they involved bees, like an animal, like a symbol that's not like a lion or something. Like beekeeper, it just makes sense and it fits with the story, and I like that. What I don't like is that spoiler, not really spoiler, well, kind of spoiler. They didn't really go into like the trauma of what happens because this is within the first 15 minutes of the movie. Okay. The woman commits a deathly act against herself, and her daughter is a police officer. Okay. And her daughter is investigating this case now. And they don't really show like the mental state of the daughter now. They don't show like the impact of that. And and also act, the deathly act against herself in itself wasn't really explained. Why, like it was explained. There was a reason, but I don't think that reason was strong enough. Personally, I mean, that's like it was kind of just out of the blue. It was very surprising, and I don't know. I didn't really like that a lot. But anyways, the cinematography was cool. There's one scene where he's the main guy. He's fighting with the big brute, and I really liked how they shot that, and especially the colors. There's a lot of like color symbolism stuff, um, but it did not live up to its potential. So 6 out of 10. Venom. This movie gets so much hate, and I don't know why, because I like it a lot. Okay, journalist Eddie Brock is trying to take down Carlton Drake, founder of the Life Foundation. During his investigation, Eddie's body merges with Venom, giving him insane strength and power. I don't think I meant to type insane there. Oh well. Which Venom loves to use to kill people because he's hungry. He Venom is just a hungry guy. Just let him tear off people's heads. That's all he wants. Okay. This movie is really good. I love it so much. Even if you don't like superheroes, I feel like you can enjoy this movie because, like, the I what's the guy's name? Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy just does such a good job of bringing his character to life. Like, it feels like a realistic representation of what would happen if you were suddenly insanely strong, insanely powerful, and you wanted to eat people. Like, it's just such a good representation of that. And also, he gets into a tub of lobsters. Who wouldn't love to watch that? Oh well. Anyways, um the end though, spoiler alert here. When Anne, when Anne is in her symbiote form and she kisses Eddie, I don't like that they chose to do that with the character because it just doesn't fit. It just doesn't make sense. Anne had moved on from Eddie. Eddie was the one who didn't move on from Anne. Anne moved on. Why would the symbiote of Anne choose that as the step to transfer the symbiote? It just doesn't make sense. That's my one complaint. So 7.9 out of 10. Saltburn. Saltburn. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I watched this movie while sitting in an airport. Bad idea. Okay. Well, actually, not really a bad idea. It was kind of cool because when you're in an airport, you're kind of just like to yourself. I'm getting off track. I got it. I'll edit that out. Okay. Here's the official synopsis of Saltburn because I wouldn't even know where to begin with this. Troubled by his classmates' unfortunate living situation, wealthy Oxford student Felix invites Oliver to stay at his estate, but a series of horrifying events soon engulf his eccentric family. That synopsis is an understatement. The only thing I knew about this movie going into it was that it has really good reviews and that it's really weird. And my gosh, is it weird, okay? It 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 threw me for a loop every single time. It was like the tornado from Wizard of Oz. It was just whipping me around. You don't know what's gonna happen next. And then it like sets you back down and like grounds you for a little bit. And then it takes you back up and throws you into this insane situation and then it takes you back down. It's a roller coaster. Literally, it's a roller coaster. Like, it starts slow, it introduces the characters, establishes a plot line, and you like get a feel for the setting and like who these two main guys are. And then it just tosses you into a completely different area and you just like relearn these characters and like everything is just unraveling and you're just glued to the center of this spiral while everything is literally spinning around you. And then you're just left to pick up the pieces. And and the pieces and the pieces are beautiful and gross because like the lighting and the colors and the wardrobe, they just all fit together so well. It's like a puzzle. They make a puzzle, okay? That's half the puzzle pieces. Is like beauty, beautiful stuff, beautiful cinematography, beautiful action. The other half is weird, somehow improvised scenes. There's one scene, if you've watched the movie, you know what I'm talking about. It's a little crazy. Okay. I can't give it a 10 out of 10 because I do prefer movies that I would be comfortable watching with other people, and I would never be willing to watch this movie with anybody else. So I give it a 9.9 out of 10. Highly recommend, but if you're squeamish, don't watch it. Okay, A Quiet Place. Ooh. A family must live in utter silence, knowing that even the slightest whisper or footstep can bring death. Evelyn and Lee are determined to find a way to protect their children while desperately searching for a way to fight back. This has great world building. it feels like you are there with them, but also it feels like it's like a documentary, or you're just like watching a day in the life of this struggling family. It's heart-wrenching and bittersweet. It feels like an apocalypse, but also like they're making the best out of their situation. They're really trying. But then the mysterious threat and the lack of plot armor, big thing there, just makes it even scarier. Like it's so like, oh, it's disturbing. 9 out of 10. I love it. I say that so much. I think I'm gonna have a counter. A counter. I love it counter in the top corner of the screen. I'll try to do that. Or maybe I won't. I don't know. We'll see how I feel editing this. Pearl. Okay, here's the official synopsis. Trapped on an isolated farm, Pearl must tend to her ailing father under the watch of her mother. Lusting for the glamorous life she's seen in movies, Pearl's temptations and repressions collide. It's so much more than that, though. Like, it is painful desire and finding independence and learning, how much am I willing to give for someone? Not even someone that I love, just someone, just freedom. What is the price of freedom? That's what this movie is. And it's about sacrifice and like what it feels like to lose everything. Oh, it's also just a fun slasher. Very tense and investing. 9 out of 10. Despicable Me 4 is disappointing. Okay. It's disappointing. Don't go into it expecting much. Like if you, I had high expectations for this because I love the Despicable Me movies, but don't do what I did. Don't expect a lot from this movie. If you go in thinking it'll be a 1 out of 10, you'll have a good time. Okay, cockroaches, undercover mission, and superpowered minions. That's literally it. They had so much potential for character stuff. They that like talking about like knowing like who you really want to be, like how you balance like work and family. Like they could have talked about like what it's like to have a big family and have to provide for that, like, and like the sacrifice that needs to be made. They could have done that and they didn't. It had so many other things going on within this crazy plot, so many things that were just like tossed in, like, oh, how do we get from point A to point B? Oh, maybe they go and steal an animal. Sure. Yeah, that'll set up something for later. There were too many beats and it it kind of sucked. It kind of sucked, honestly. I think 4.2 out of 10 is too high. You know what? Yeah. It's a 3 out of 10. That's what it is. And I know this movie is for kids, but kids are not brainless giggle machines. You can give them a quality story and a fun movie. And guess what? Who's watching this movie with kids? Adults. Adults want to have quality content. Not sponsored by Captain Sparkles. Anyways, The Family Stone. Um, oh yeah, that is 48. The Family Stone. Everett brings his girlfriend Meredith to meet his bohemian Connecticut family at Christmas. Straight-laced Meredith hopes to win the approval of her boyfriend's parents, but instead only highlights her uptight personality and makes Everett doubt his intentions. Okay, this movie had a really good story. I liked that they balanced the main character's like annoyingness with like fun antics. Like they watching it felt like watching a family just during the holidays. Like it really just felt like you were there, you were looking in on this family. But there were a few times where the scene just didn't make sense and like the characters' decisions just didn't fit well. Like in at one point, they're all having dinner together, and Meredith says something very homophobic, like very. And there is a gay couple in the family, and they don't really get mad at her. Well, they do at first, but then they kind of just forgive her and don't talk about it. And that really made me annoyed. That like, oh, that kind of sucked because the whole movie is about like acceptance and like learning to, you know, overcome your pride and your prejudices. I'm so funny. I, that seemed so scripted, but I promise that was not. That was not. Um, other than the unfortunate homophobia that was never addressed, it's an 8 out of 10. Really good balance. Okay, and that concludes the ranking. So, to recapitulate, let's look at the best and the worst. Best, of course, has got to go to Saltburn. It's just so weird and so like perfect. I honestly have no complaints about Saltburn because I don't even know what I would complain about because everything feels intentional. Because it is. Intentionality is key. And Saltburn did that. Okay. The worst movie though? Planet of the Apes, 2001. Don't watch it. Don't ever watch it. Don't even look at this movie. Okay? If you see it on a shelf, throw it in the garbage. Okay? Don't don't have anything to do with this movie because there's one good character and she gets betrayed. Okay? Not actually betrayed, but to me, she gets betrayed and she deserved better because she was great. She kind of reminded me of Gina and Amy from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. If you mix them together, that's what Ari is, and she deserved better. I think that wraps up our movie ranking. Oh, wait, this just in. There's been a development. There is a bonus movie. Oh my gosh. I couldn't have seen that coming. Wow. Okay. Bonus Holiday Inn. Originally, I was not going to talk about this one because I don't even know how I would rate it. But now I've thought about it and I do know how to rate it. 1 out of 10, as you can see. I'll tell you why. Okay. This movie would be an 8 out of 10 because it's a fun story. The characters are interesting. But I cannot give it an 8 out of 10 because trigger warning, racism, not me. I gotta rephrase that. Okay. But I will not give it an 8 out of 10 because, trigger warning here, they use blackface as a plot device. And I just can't get behind that. Sucks to suck, I'm not racist. It was the 40s, but that act will always be racist. And the fact that they used it as part of the plot when they could have disguised the character in any way, but they chose to do a minstrel show, just really does not sit right with me. So this movie gets a 1 out of 10 for plot. And also, it came as part of a 2-pack that you could buy with White Christmas, which is weird. Like there was White Christmas is a very fun, family-friendly movie. So imagine you're, watching it with your mom and your sister, and then suddenly that one of the characters is like, "Hey, I gotta make sure no one recognizes who you are. Let me paint your face black." That's that's kind of crazy, honestly. Kind of crazy. No label, no line saying, "Hey, this includes offensive content." Oh well. And yeah, it's 1 out of 10. And Children of the Corn. I forgot I had watched this movie until the day before I finished making this presentation. Anyways, Children of the Corn, I don't have much to say about. It's okay. The end, spoiler here, spoiler. The end was really funny because you have the girlfriend and the boyfriend and the two little kids, and they're just skipping along, poking at each other, joking like, haha, what are we gonna do next? While they're literally right next to their car that has a dead body in the trunk. They didn't even address it, didn't even go back to that. It happened within the first like half hour of the movie, did not go back to it at all. It's kind of interesting. 5 out of 10. Thank you oh so much for watching. This took a very long time to make. The audio got all messed up here, so I got a voiceover, but basically, it's going to take a long time to edit. It's taken, many hours already. But I wanted to do this because I like movies, and I wanted you guys to know that I like movies, and I want to know what you think about these movies. Have you seen them? Do you have your own review? Do you agree or disagree with mine? I don't know, but let me know in the comments, and feel free to like and subscribe, and go check out my Instagram at annab.tv. And with that, I'm your host Annabelle, signing off. Thank you for watching.
ABTV, the world's number one.